this week we're going to do, it's going to be again a seated class, so if you're practicing with somebody who has less mobility, you can do the whole practice in a chair. If you would like to do the practice seated, you could do the practice seated, cross-legged, or on a block or a cushion. If you are seated, just try to make sure that your bum is a little bit higher than the hips so you can be comfortable, and feel free at any point to move position. So you can always take an extra cushion or an extra block, whatever you need to be comfortable. Good. So I hope everyone's doing okay at home. We're fine. We're in week 4 of the lockdown, and just been sort of hanging in there, doing lots of yoga and meditation, which has really been helping me. So for now, what we're going to do is just to start to settle in. So taking your hands onto your lap, you can have your hands palm face up or palm face down. You can take the shoulders away from the back, and just take a moment to close the eyes. Take a moment to settle your body. So you might want to move a little bit forward, you may want to move a little bit back, maybe a little side to side. Move the shoulders down the back and begin to focus on the breath. So noticing your inhalation and noticing your exhalation. And if you've been working with me on the Monday classes, the breath work, or if you're one of my regular students or practice breath work yourself, we can try and make the inhale and the exhale approximately even. So focusing on really bringing that internal awareness here. So you can breathe in for 2, 3, 4, and then breathing out for 2, 3, 4. Using your own count, but we're just trying to make the inhale and exhale even. As you inhale, you can imagine that the inhale is moving up the front of your body. And as you exhale, you can imagine the exhale is moving down the back of the body. And see if with this breath work you can lift the sternum a little bit on the inhale. And as you exhale, move the back of the shoulders down towards the back of the heart. And while we're just focusing on our breath, I'm going to read you a little bit from a book that I'm exploring called The Wild Edge of Sorrow by Francis Weller. The alchemists had an excellent image for the transformation of suffering and symptom into a value of soul. A goal of the alchemical process was a pearl of a great price. The pearl starts off as a bit of grit, a neurotic symptom or complaint, a bothersome irritant in one's secret inside flesh, with no defensive shell can protect oneself from. This is coated over, worked at day in and day out, until the grit one day is a pearl, yet it still must be fished up from the depths and pried loose. Then when the grit is redeemed, it is worn. It must be worn on the warm skin to keep its lustre. The redeeming complex which once caused suffering is exposed to the public, viewed as a virtue. This esoteric treasure gained through occult work becomes an exoteric splendour. To get rid of the symptom means to get rid of the chance to gain what one day may be of greatest value, even if at first it is an unbearable irritant, lowly and disguised. Just taking a moment still, just breathing there, settling in. And as we are all stuck indoors, we may find these irritants, these bits of grit come up. And then we really have the opportunity at the moment to work with these things, turn them into pearls. Good. So taking your hands together now, make an intention for your practice, and then rubbing the hands together, and then take the palms over the eyes, and then slowly smoothing over the hands. So a little bit of warming up. If you're sitting down or however you're sitting, you can stretch the legs out. So stretching them out like nice and wide. You can have them, if you're in the chair, you can have them just a little bit wider. We'll just warm up through the spine. So take your hands together. And we can imagine here we're stirring a pot. So we're just going to start with a little bit of a stirring movement. Nice and gentle to start with. And you can reach forward as much as you like. You can reach towards one knee or foot. And we can imagine that we're putting in this pot all the things that we have been working with this week. Things that have been annoying us, the things that have been joyful or keeping us happy. And we're just stirring them into this pot, this soup, this curry, this stew, that's our life. And making sure we get into the corners of our pot. You don't want to get burnt bits that get stuck there. We want to liberate those bits. And then we can begin to move in the opposite direction. So again, just making some nice stirring movements, getting into the corners. And you can make these movements as dynamic or as small as you like. Remember, listen to your body. It's your journey here today. Good. And as we're stirring this pot, we can reflect a little bit on what's been going on for us. The good bits, the bad bits. The grit and the sweet bits, and they all form part of our soup and nourishing soup of our lives. Good. And then coming to the centre, press your hands down and pushing down into your fingers, lifting the heart. If you're on the chair, you can use the base of the chair just to help you lift up a little bit more. Good. And then slightly different movement now. So inhale, moving to your right. Take the left hand up. Exhaling down. Inhale to the left. 2 more times like this. Inhale. Exhale. You can continue counting the breath, so you can breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. So next time the right hand comes up, we inhale, we reach the right hand up, really stretch, and then draw the right hand down. So draw the elbow back like it's coming back behind you, and then reaching up out again of the shoulder. Good. So drawing back and down, stretch the fingers. Inhale, reaching up and out. One more time, drawing back down. And then reaching up and out. Good. Moving to the second side, doing exactly the same movement. So we're going to reach up. Drawing it down, try to pull the elbow in towards the ribs. Reaching up again, excellent. Good. And drawing down. And one more time, reaching up. So if you're practicing at home and you're on a chair, this movement's going to be a little bit different. You're just going to come into a little twist from side to side. If you're practicing on the floor, we can make the movement a little bit more dynamic, and we can swing the hands around, so we come into a little bit more of a twist. So whichever movement you're taking, we inhale, lifting up. Exhale, twisting to your right. If you're on the floor, you can take the twist into the hips. Inhale to the centre. And then exhale, twisting over. Take your hand to the other side of the knee. So right hand to the left knee, twisting round. Inhale. Exhale, twist both hands behind you if you're on the floor. Reaching, inhale to the centre. Exhale, twisting round. So both hands behind you if you're on the floor. Otherwise, if you're on a chair, just hand to the knee. And one more time each side. Inhale. Twisting round. Look behind you. And last time, left side. Inhale, reach up. Exhale. Good. Inhale back to the centre. So now coming to any comfortable position, you can draw the legs in. Sometimes it's quite nice to sit in Virasana, the hero's pose. So this, you might want a block or a book or something and have it in between your legs, and you can have the cushion as well. So whatever comfortable position, if you're on the chair, just stay on the chair. And we're going to come to work on the neck and the shoulders now. So to start with, inhaling, take the nose towards the sky. And then exhale, chin to the chest. Inhale, lifting the nose up. Exhale, chin to the chest. One more time, inhale, lifting up. Exhale, chin to chest. And then taking the right ear to the right shoulder. Semicircle, chin to chest, and then left ear to the left shoulder. Just circling round, little semicircles coming down. And just enjoying that movement. Remember, you don't need to go too far. Next time your right ear comes to the right shoulder, press your right hand into the left ear. And then, so you take the hand all the way over the top and then holding onto your left ear, just gently holding. And then we're going to take exploration with the left hand. So you can take any movements you like. You can make this quite fluid. We can take the hand up, you can take it down, you can take it back behind you, you could reach into your thumb, you could reach into your little finger. So really just enjoying the movement. You can reach forward, you could reach all the way behind. And as you move through, don't forget to keep the jaw nice and relaxed. Try to notice if there's any clenching of the teeth. And sometimes it feels good just to carry on moving, exploring the possibilities of movement. Other times it might feel good to stay a bit more static and just stay in one point. Or sometimes if there's a particularly kind of sticky point, it might be good to feel like you're doing a little bit of ironing, like moving forward and back over a little crease. And then when you're ready, release the nose. So take the nose down, and you're releasing it down. So you're going to look at your right thigh. And you should feel the movement kind of transition around a little bit more towards the back of your neck. And then again, continuing with your wrist circles, with your movements through the arm, whatever feels most appropriate. Big movements, small movements. Remember, it's your body, it's your practice. And then inhale, come back to the centre. Just come back slowly. Relax the hands on the thighs and then make 3 big circles through the shoulders. And then take a moment, closing your eyes, and just sense the space between the left ear and the left shoulder, the side we've worked. And then notice the space between the right ear and the right shoulder. You might be able to feel that space feels a bit bigger. So Yeah, let me know in the comments if you do. So, I'm going to go on to the other side now. So, taking out the left hand, sweeping it up, sweep it over, just holding gently onto the right here. So here we're not pulling down, so just a very, very gentle encouraging at this opening. And then when we're ready, we're going to start exploring with the other hand. So you can take it forward, back, you could reach into your little finger, into your thumb. Make some big movements, you can make small movements. Really remember it's completely up to you. And ideally we're enjoying the movements. So don't go to any extremes. If it's too tight in a position, maybe just back off that position. If there's a place that it feels quite sticky or stuck, you might want to continue moving through that place and spend a bit of time there. Don't forget to keep the jaw relaxed and released. And then when you're ready, release the nose down towards the thigh, so the stretch moves a little bit more around to the back of the neck, and then continuing the movement through the arm. And you may find that this side is better, or it feels more tight or less tight. And really just try to notice without judging. Don't forget to keep coming back to the jaw, keep making sure you're releasing the jaw. Remember, it's fine to just stay in one place or be a sort of ironing movement, that's also completely fine. And then when you're ready, release the head back to the center. Let's roll the shoulders the other way, so back and then forward. And then release the shoulders down, close your eyes. Release the jaw, see if you can have the lips a little bit together, teeth a little bit separate. Lips softly together, teeth separate. Eyes closed. See if we can find a bit of an inner smile. Notice the space between your left shoulder and your left ear, and your right shoulder and your right ear. Then from here, take your hands, interlace the fingers, take your hands behind the back of your head. We imagine that we've got pencil on our nose. We did this in the previous week. I think the first week we did this exercise. We're going to do it again because it's really good for the upper spine, thoracic spine, particularly if you're doing a lot of sitting during these days. So with the pencil on the nose, we're going to start to make some little figures of 8 movements. Enjoying the figures of 8 movement. Enjoying the movement in the upper back. You take the eyes up towards the sky. You can make it a little bit more of a internal movement with the head towards the belly. So just really enjoying that range of movement. And then when you're ready, beginning to make that figure of 8. So it's an infinity symbol, so like a figure of 8 lying on its side and going in the opposite direction. Good. And then coming to the center, press the head back into the hands quite strongly. With your thumbs, imagine you're lifting up your head a little bit. Pressing the head back, 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 back. Don't pop out the ribs, draw the ribs in, a little bit of tone in the belly. Close the eyes, and then in the moment, release the hands and notice what happens to the head. Releasing the hands, noticing what's going on with the head, and then slowly open your eyes. So, some people find that when they release the head sort of floats forward a little bit like that. If that happened to you, it's probably a sign that we're hunching over a little bit and our head's going a bit too much far forward for computer work. So if you found that, just try and, every few little bit, if you're at your desk or whatever, take your head back into your hands and practice that exercise, stretching the back of the neck, and that might help the head move a little bit more back into the in line with the spine, so we don't end up with so much hunching over. Good, so sitting nice and tall now, we'll do a little bit of work on our hands. Taking the hands in front and beginning to make 3 circles in one direction. Try to keep the wrists really still. So just trying to focus on moving the hands. And then 3 circles in the other direction. And then stretching out both hands, stretch the fingers up, and then we're going to close the thumbs, first finger, second finger, third finger, and fourth finger, and then releasing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stretch, 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 and then take the fingers down, point the fingers to the floor, fingers up. Fingers down, pointing the fingers to the floor, really pointing, stretching into the front of the wrists, fingers up, pushing the heels of the hands forward. So one more time like this, coming down, and then coming up. Good. Then give everything a little bit of a shake, whole body shaking, and release down. So just take a moment to notice the feedback now from your hands, and maybe a little bit more feedback. There may be a bit of tingling or sensation. And then opening the eyes, take the right hand, push the heel of the right hand forward, and then we're just going to stretch each finger in turn. So stretching the little finger, stretching the second finger, good, excellent, third finger, fourth finger, and then just stretching back the thumb. Good. So feeling the stretch in the hands, and then turning the whole hand over, hold your back of your hand and then push forward. So again, just stretching the wrist here. And then using your hands to gently massage the forearm. So you can go up and down a few times, you can just squeeze it. Try to make sure the wrist is really floppy. And then you can just keep massaging up and down. And then relax that arm completely. Give it a bit of a shake. Good, excellent. So take a moment, again, close the eyes. So remember, yoga is about sensing and feeling and noticing. So notice the feedback from your right arm now. And then we'll move on to the left arm. If at any point your position of your legs gets uncomfortable, just change the position. Don't feel that you have to sit in the same position for all of these exercises. Feel free to change over. So now stretching out your left hand, and then we're going to go one by one with the fingers. So stretching the little finger, stretch your second finger, third finger, fourth finger, and your fifth finger, the thumb, otherwise known as the thumb, and then going, stretching the whole of the back of the hand, pushing into that wrist, and then taking your hands and walking your way up your forearm. So give it a bit of a stretch, just shake the hand out, give it a nice massage. and massaging up and down, and then give it a good old shake and release. Great. So we are going to come back to our shoulders and also our jaw in a moment, but we'll just take a moment to stretch out the legs in between. So take your legs out, whatever position you've had them in, doesn't matter. And come off your block if you're on a block. And just give them a little bit of a wiggle. So let's start with the right leg. So we're going to pull the right leg into our chest. Hold behind the back of the thigh if you can. Inhale, pointing the toes, stretching out, flex, and then draw back in again, squeezing it in. So 2 more times, point, pushing it away, stretching, 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 flex, and draw it in. 1 more time, pointing, stretching, and flexing, and draw it in. And this time, if you can take it a little bit closer, so close as you can, doesn't really matter how close it is. If you have it quite close to you and your knee is close to your forehead, you can take your forehead to the knee. If it's nowhere near there, don't worry, just hugging it in. It's really good for your ascending colon. And then crossing the ankle over the knee. Cross your ankle over your other knee. Try to just encourage your leg to go out a little bit, and then we can take our hands inside our feet. So just take 1 finger inside each toe. Really good for stretching our feet here. And then we're going to stretch the toes, and then we're going to make some ankle cranks. So just cranking one way, and then moving the other way. And then releasing. So there's options. So if you're sitting in a chair, just stay where you are now. If your hips are really tight, you could also just stay where you are now. If you want to go a bit further, we can lift up the bottom leg and we can take it to in line with the bottom leg in line with the top leg. Now you can see here I've got quite a big gap here in between my knee and my ankle, so I'm going to put something in between it. Some people don't have a gap, it just depends on the flexibility, so up to you. And then if you're in the chair, just keeping the leg crossed or keep the bottom leg straight. This can be quite strong. So we inhale, we lift up through this chest, and then exhale, fold forwards and down. So folding forward as best you can. Keep the right foot flexed. Take a moment there, relax the head. And see if we can imagine that we're looking down at a mirror, and we want the mirror to be a reflection of our face, and we want to find a little bit of an inner smile here. So softening the jaw, softening the skin around the eyes. Good. Inhale, come back up again. Stretch out the bottom leg. Just releasing this top leg, and we can take the top leg, 1 hand in each, 1 hand on the foot, 1 hand on the knee, and we just make some little movements. So really just moving into the hip, enjoying the movement. And then relax the foot out. And give your foot a little bit of a wiggle there. Excellent. Good. So moving on to the other side, holding behind the back of the leg. Inhale, pointing, push the leg away, and then flex, draw the toes towards you, draw the knee towards your chest. 2 more times, pushing the toe away, flexing, drawing it towards you. And 1 more time, pushing it away, flex and draw it towards you. So this time hugging it in a little bit, Hug it in a bit further if you want to. You can hold the front of the shin best you can. And then we can see about taking our forehead to the knee, only if that's available for you. Good. And now cross the ankle over the right knee. Keep it flexed. Take a moment there. So remember, you can just stay here. Oh, so first thing is we're going to do the ankle crank. So take the fingers in between the toes. Just trying to spread the toes and then making some big circles with the ankles. So circling around one way. Excellent. Sitting up nice and straight. And then circling the other way. So you can stay here, just as fine. If you want to, you can bend the bottom leg and take the foot underneath the left knee, or just stay where you are. Keep the top foot flexed. If you've got a book or a cushion or anything, you can put it in between your knee and the foot. And then we're simply going to see if we can come forward. So remember, you only need a cushion if there's a gap. Sometimes there's not a big gap and you don't need anything. And then coming forward, come onto your fingertips, keep your top foot flexed, and then releasing down. Breathing there, noticing how you feel. Noticing any difference between this side and the previous side. And then slowly use your hands to walk yourself up to sitting. And then releasing both legs out. So actually we're just going to give it a little bit of a wiggle first. So remember, give it a bit of a wiggle. And then releasing out. So take a moment to really release the feet. You can just wiggle them. You can give them a bit of a kind of bounce up and down. You can give them a rub. You can rub your knees. You can rub the outside edge of your hips. So noticing what feels good for you. Take your hands by your hips and sit up nice and straight. Take a few breaths there. So here we're going to take some full spinal movements, the seated sun salutation. So if you're in the chair, that's fine as well. So we inhale, we lift up through the hands. Exhale, fold forwards and down. Draw the forehead towards your knees or the shins. Inhale, lift your forehead. Back nice and straight. Exhale, fold down again. Flex the feet if your feet are out in front of you. Inhale, lifting all the way up. Opening the chest, look to the thumbs. Exhale, down the center line. Now, if you're seated and your legs aren't straight, or you've got any hamstring issues, if you're sitting on the floor, you can always have something underneath your knees, a rolled up towel, a block, a book. This will just help protect the back of the legs. So remember, it's your choice. Inhale, lifting up. Look to the thumbs. Exhale, fold forwards and down. Relax the head down. Inhale, stretch the head forward. Exhale, fold forwards and down. And then inhale, sweeping the hands up. Look to the thumbs. Exhale, down the center line. One more time. Inhale, lifting up. Following the breath, exhale, come down. Inhale, stretch forwards. Exhale, fold forwards and down. Inhale, coming all the way up. Exhale, down the center line. Take a moment to close the eyes. Rest the hands. and then opening the eyes again. This time we're going to have a little bit of a forward fold, so it's up to you how you want to do it. If you've got a block or anything, you can always have something supporting your head. If you're just sitting in the chair, you can just forward fold as best you can. You can always rest your hands, your head on your hands if that's available for you, or just folding forward as best you can. Depending on your flexibility, some of you might want to take your hands underneath your knees and you might have to come down even further. So as we're in this position, we can come back to look inwards to reflect a little bit. Staying where you are, just breathing. Remember, if it's uncomfortable, you can always come out. Thinking about looking inside and thinking about our story, the story about the pearl and how the pearl comes from a bit of grit and how that grit is transformed. There's a story of transformation. Story of patience. The piece of grit doesn't just become a pearl overnight. And there's a story of having to dig deep and go deep inside. And I think these particular times we're in, they have lots of opportunities for us to do that. Opportunities for self-reflection. Taking a few more moments there. And then coming all the way up and rolling the shoulders. So we'll do a little bit more work on our shoulders and our jaw as well. So come into any comfortable seated position, crossed legs out front, whatever you prefer. And I'm going to show you the next movement we're going to do on the side so you can see it a bit better. And we're going to do a movement called the shoulder carve. And what you want to do is you want to imagine that we've got these pencils on both shoulders sticking directly out. And we're going to be moving our shoulders in a square position. So we inhale, draw the shoulders up, then we're going to draw them back, then we're going to draw them down, and then we're going to go forward. So it's kind of like drawing a square from the side on. And you could imagine you've got these two walls and two pencils, and they're drawing directly out of your shoulders, and you're drawing the square on the wall. So you're lifting up, draw the shoulders back, draw the shoulders down, and then draw the shoulders forward. So again, one more like this, relax the hands, draw the shoulders up, draw the shoulders back, down, and then forward, and then going the opposite direction. So back, up, forward, and down, back, up, forward, and down. And one more time, back, up, forward, and down. And then just relax the hands, closing your eyes, and noticing how your shoulders feel. Then opening the eyes. We're coming to the end of the class. We're going to do a little bit of work on the jaw. So you can come to lie down on your back, and I'll instruct you for the jaw work on your back. If you're in the chair, just stay exactly where you are. Just take a few moments getting yourself nice and comfortable there. And then wherever you are, just going to take your hands to the jaw. So if you're lying on your back, just take your hands to the jaw. And you want to take your fingers to where the upper and lower jaw meet. And just making some small circles, one way and then circling the other way. And then take your right hand and place your right hand in the jaw, roughly where the upper jaw and the lower jaw meet. That's where you want the fist to be. And then we're pushing against the right hand with our jaw. You can do this lying down just as easily as you can sitting up. So push, 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 so you're trying to push your hand away. So pushing with the lower jaw, and then release. And then swapping sides, take your left hand into your jaw, and then you're pushing into your left hand, so you're pushing towards the left. Push, 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 push. And then releasing. And then taking a nice big stretch through your whole mouth. Don't worry what you look like, no one can see you. So nice big stretch. And some movements, and then just relaxing the face. Lick your lips a few times. And then completely relaxing down, enabling the whole body to relax. Breathing deeply, breathing slowly. Taking a moment to move into your internal space. Noticing how you feel. Just going to finish with another poem. Healing Time. Finally, on my way to yes, I bump into all the places where I said no to my life. All the untended wounds, the red and purple scars, those hieroglyphs of pain carved into my skin and bones, those coded messages that send me down the wrong street again and again, where I find them, the old wounds, the old misdirections, and I lift them one by one close to my heart, and I say, holy, holy. And then when you're ready, slowly, if you're lying down, begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. If you're sitting, you can wiggle your fingers and toes as well. And then rolling over to your right hand side, make a pillow with your hands. And then slowly beginning to walk yourself back to sitting. Take your hands back to your heart. Take a moment to come back to your intention for the practice. And namaste everybody. I'm going to finish there. Good, so thank you everybody for joining me today.